Hello again, everybody. Just want to let you in on what I've been working on for this particular episode. As you can see, I've been working on the center wing itself with the two outer port and starboard wings. At this point, we got them all together, and I did go ahead and decide to put them in the fixed wing position. Kind of bring this up a little bit closer here. Watch it. I did have a fit issue on this side of the aircraft as far as the retractable gear. As you recall, it's just a single wing hinge plastic that holds the two wings together in this particular kit. Basically, I lined up the bottom part of the wing there as close as I could get, but of course when I turn it over to try to line the other side on the top side, it was skewed. So one of the things I had to do is let me bring the light in here. There's a little locator pin that's part of the hinge itself, and it was interfering with the two wing halves. So I basically had to trim a part of that off just to be able to maneuver the second half of this wing as close as I can to decrease the gap between the center wing and the outer wing. So we pretty much got that taken care of. I still wanted to give the impression of still having somewhat of a little gap in there just to represent that it does retract up and down. But this is where we're standing at. As you can see, if I kind of go along the line here, they're pretty well aligned now on both sides. This side was not so much a problem. It pretty much lined up pretty well. But once I had dry fitted everything in place, I took it all back apart again and went ahead and glued the outer wings. And I made actually kind of used this tester's liquid cement for the outer perimeter. And I put enough on there to, when I squeezed the two parts together, that some of the glue did ooze out along the seam line, which is okay. Excuse me. Because, I'll just let dry dry overnight, and then come back and trim off all the dried up glue there, and then sand it down all on the perimeter of the wings on both sides to get them as smooth as possible and ready for the next installment in the next step in the instructions. So so basically it took me a while to get that problem worked out. So, but as you can see here now, we have our main fuselage, and basically it'll come together like so, and as you can see, we have a pretty good tight fit because I sanded and refined it all the way around for the lower half to try to get as not as much gaps in it as possible. So it looks pretty tight, and we're ready to go ahead and glue the fuselage to the actual wingspan itself. So stay tuned, we'll be right back. And we're back. As you can see, we've got the fuselage assembled to the lower wings now. Let the cement cure for a while. So let's take a closer look at what we got going. One of the things I had to take care of on the back side of the stabilizer was, let me bring the light down here, was there was a big old hole that you could see right through on the rear end, and big old gap. So I actually used some of the Tamiya putty that I had on hand and even though it's kind of lacquer based, I went ahead and closed up the gap using that putty for right now. And you know, I came back with some lacquer thinner and with a little Q-tip and just kind of cleaned everything up and let that cure overnight. So this is our result on that. So it turned out pretty good there. As far as where the antenna assemblies were glued in, there was a gap that you could look straight down into the fuselage. So I ended up using some of my 3M putty to close the holes around the antenna itself. Sanded it down after it dried, and this is the result there. Other than that, we kind of turn around here. My next step was to actually insert the two wing inlets on either side, and with a little bit of some filing and sanding, I got them to fit pretty snug in there, and so that was accomplished. And I've been using some of my Tamiya extra thin cement just to kind of keep it clean, and so I don't have too much glue being exposed. As far as where the fuselage meets the center bottom wing, the seams were pretty good. There was a real slight gap on the back side here on both sides. So I kind of got to thinking, and what I actually ended up doing to close those gaps up was I went ahead and went out to my garage and got me some of the DAP acrylic latex caulk silicone, since it is water based and it is paintable. So I figured I'd go ahead and give that a shot. And what I did there was I just squeezed a little bit out, and I took a little bit of a toothpick and just kind of went right along the seam line there on both sides, anywhere I saw a gap around the wing inlets themselves, and just kind of just applied it lightly, and I came back with a Q-tip and dipped in some water and just kind of cleaned it all up, and this is the result. So I hopefully that was going to work. Just kind of a little brainstorm there that I had, that because I did go ahead and go on eBay and order the Vallejo putty that I saw on YouTube through Classic Plastic 101 was using it. And I thought that was pretty neat, but the problem was is that it won't be getting delivered here to the house until September 14th. So in the meantime, I wanted to go forward with this and decided to go ahead and use the acrylic latex caulking that I use for around the house. So I'm just kind of letting that set up, and we'll see what happens. So that is done on that part there, and I'll kind of move this off to the side. And basically I've been working on my bombs and my other armament, the drop tanks, and I put a base coat of some NATO black on there as for my base primer. So there's that, and we'll go on and actually I have one main drop tank, which is this one right here that goes in the center of the lower wing, and then of course they give you two options of two more drop tanks, which they're all based on the NATO black primer color that I use for the initial airbrushing on the kit. So there's those ready to go, and we come back here. Same thing. I started on the propeller. Same thing with the NATO black Tamiya. Airbrushed all that on both sides as a base, and same thing with my 8 rockets here. Just give it a good coat of the NATO black. So those are ready to go for the next step in the layering of some paint. And then last but not least, we have here is the let me see if I can get this where you can see this. That looks pretty good. Basically, as far as the engine inside the cowling here, I went ahead and used the Tamiya, first of all, once again the NATO black, the XF-69, and then I kind of worked my way from the back to the front. I went ahead and used some of this metallic gray XF-56 for all the cylinders in the background. It's got pretty good detail on it. That's why I wanted to just kind of go basic with the NATO black, the metallic gray, and then as far as on top here we have the Tamiya copper, which I believe is the XF-6, which is right here. So hopefully that's focused. You can see that. And I just want to give it a general, detail in there. Nothing fancy, since you'd be pretty much covered up and you won't be able to see too much of it. But just want to give it intention of some detail work in there. So, all right. So there we go. That is done. And this is where we're at as far as this episode. And so I do appreciate you guys watching and subscribing, and I wish all my modelers a happy Labor Day weekend. Until then, we'll see you later, and everybody have a good day. Bye.